Hourglass. Please join me in welcoming MJ.
Martha had the perfect life. Loving husband Tom, 2 beautiful young children, Sophie and Bobby, over-involved mother Carol. It's only because she cared so much. Now, if you had to know one thing about Martha, that woman loved a good yard sale. One Sunday morning after church, the family's driving through the neighborhood, and little Susie points and yells, "Mama, Mama, look, yard sale!" She was so well trained, Martha was proud. So Tom pulls the van over, the family hops out, and they begin to rummage through the items. Tom hangs back, lets his family explore. The kids run to the toys, Carol goes to the different lamps, and Martha walks over to the jewelry table, where a necklace catches her eye. And there's a charm on that necklace, a lot like this necklace, but the charm was an hourglass. There was something about this hourglass, maybe it was the antique look, very mysterious. She had to have it. So she buys the thing. That night at dinner, Tom is going on his nightly rants about everything that's going wrong in this world, and distractedly Martha plays with her hourglass and notices it's on an axle. She flips the hourglass forward. Something strange happens. The room goes silent, and she looks up to Tom. He's still speaking, but his mouth is moving rapidly. She turns and looks at her children, and they're shoveling spaghetti into their mouths so quickly. She looks at the hourglass. Could there be a correlation? She flips it back into place. Everything resumes speed. Tom is ranting again, and the children are eating. So she tests this theory out, flips it forward, and sure enough, the night picks up pace. The kids scurry up to the stairs, to their bedrooms. Tom finishes his food, and when she flips it back into place, now she's in bed. She got to skip Tom's whole rant. How wonderful was this? That night, she played with other features, flipped it back for rewind, slow motion, and over the next couple days, realized fast forward was her favorite functionality. She got to fast forward through those nightly rants of Tom's. She got to fast forward through her mom's long doctor's appointments. She got to fast forward through the kids' boring soccer games, and my goodness, there were so many. She got to get to the good stuff. Happy hours with her coworkers, birthday parties with her girlfriends, and over the next couple months, Martha was starting to love her new purchase. One morning, though, she wakes up and turns to the bed beside her. It's Sunday morning, and Tom wasn't there. He's usually there. Something felt really off, so she just goes about her morning routine, goes down to the kitchen, pours herself a cup of coffee, and begins to explore her living room, and it's a mess and it's dark. But a photograph on the top of the piano caught her eye. It was a college graduation photo of a man who looked a lot like 13-year-old Bobby. How could this be? She looked down at her necklace. At that minute, she decided to call Carol, her mother, because Carol always knows what's going on, but no answer. Well, where was her husband, Tom? She calls him. Same thing, no answer. She gets a little worried. She calls her kids' cell phone, sadly. They have cell phones. No answer as well. It clicked in her head. Could the hourglass be the cause of this? How long did she let it run for? At that moment, the phone rang. Her mother, Carol, was in the hospital. As soon as she hung up the phone, she was just as quickly by her mother's bedside. But her mother had looked so much older. She had aged. And there was this sadness in her eyes when Martha walked in. And before Carol gave her last breath, she said one last sentence to Martha. "Why now?" And her mother closed her eyes. Before Martha could realize that her mother had passed, the door behind her flipped open, and there were Tom, Susie, and Bobby. But her kids were much older now. She couldn't understand how this had happened. She pulled Tom aside, and Tom explained, "Martha, you've been absent the last 10 years. You didn't even go visit your mom when she was sick. You weren't even there mentally when I tried talking to you. The kids moved away for college. You never visited. We're in the middle of a divorce right now." The family left, and Martha was alone. she'd lost everything. It was all because she fast-forwarded through the moments that mattered the most. And in that moment, she dropped her face in her hands and cried. Her tears hit the ground, and one tear hit the hourglass, cracked it, and the sands of the hourglass fell onto the floor. And the dust that rose turned into this enveloping blanket that transported Martha back to that Sunday morning at the yard sale. And without knowing it, she looked up. And sure enough, there were her children playing with the toys, and her mother, Carol, alive and well, examining the lamps. She turned back to the van, and there was Tom staring at her admiringly. And a feeling of relief rushed over her. Again, she put her face in her hands and sobbed. But this time, her loving family rushed to her side. "Is everything okay?" And in that moment, Martha learned a valuable lesson. Don't take for granted the blessings that you have. Appreciate them before they're gone, because not everyone gets a second chance. Mr. Toastmaster.